I hit the floor before I even knew I was falling. 1 second, I was crouched behind the check-in desk at Boise Regional, holding a crying toddler whose mom was screaming about missing her connecting flight to Sacramento. Next second, gone. No warning, no chest pain, no dizziness, just black. I came to in the ER with tubes in my arm and a headache like someone had cracked my skull open and poured sand inside. "Miss Weller, you fainted. You're severely dehydrated, and your blood pressure was bottomed out when you came in," a nurse told me. She was kind but direct. "You've got to slow down, your body's not keeping up." I nodded, but honestly, I was too tired to argue. I already knew what happened. I'd been running 2 back-to-back shifts at the airport, trying to fill in for a coworker who bailed. Add in the weekend cashier shifts at home build, and the fact I hadn't eaten more than vending machine crackers in 24 hours. It was a matter of time. "Before we start, how's your day going and where are you joining from?" Lying there in that beige ER room with the heart monitor beeping like a metronome from hell, I sent out a quick group message to the family. No drama, just a text. "Hey, all good now but fainted at work this morning. Docs say I need to hydrate more and rest. Nothing serious, just overdid it. Love you guys." I figured I'd get something back. Maybe a "holy crap" or "you okay?" Something. I had my phone in hand. Notifications on. Nothing. Not for hours. 3 hours later, 1 ping. Just one. It was from my brother, Josh. "You still got the card to pay my phone bill?" That was it. No, "How are you?" No, "What happened?" Just that. And in that second, everything just crystallized. They didn't care. Not really. To them, I wasn't a daughter or a sister. I was a resource. A walking bank account. The one who held it all together while they coasted. I stared at that message until my vision blurred. Not from tears, those didn't come. Just a raw kind of burnout. The kind that makes your body quit before your brain can even process why. I locked my phone, pulled the scratchy hospital blanket over my chest, and turned my head to the wall. The monitor beeped, the IV dripped, and nobody called. I didn't sleep that night. The hospital bed was stiff, the lights too bright, and every beep from the monitors sent a jolt through my skull. But that wasn't why I stayed awake. I kept replaying Josh's message in my head, over and over like a broken loop. "You still got the card to pay my phone bill?" I checked my phone again, stupidly, hoping something new had come in. A missed call, a text, even a damn emoji. Instead, I had 3 new messages. One from Dad. "Hey Linz, that leaf blower I showed you still on sale? Think we need it for the yard." Another from Mom. "Our washer's acting up again. Can you look up repair guys?" And Josh again. "Also, need gas money. Venmo?" Not one asked how I was doing. Not even a fake, "Hope you're feeling better." Just more stuff to handle. I opened my notes app and started typing. Won $200. Josh's vape shop, launch, $360. Dad's drone parts, $2,000. Roof leak on the bakery before it sold, $740. Mom's dental bill, $500. Josh's laptop repair, $400. Family internet bill, 4 months straight, $80. Gas money for Josh, $129. Air fryer. Mom swore would save money. That was just off the top of my head. I had receipts somewhere, maybe in old emails or buried in texts. I kept scrolling through old messages. Josh sending me screenshots of PS5 bundles with PLZs underneath. Mom forwarding some deal of the day, Amazon link for a kitchen gadget she'd never use. Dad emailing PDFs of patent applications he never submitted. And me replying every time with, "Okay, I'll cover it. Just this once." "Sure." I closed my eyes and thought about the last time I took a trip for myself. It was 3 years ago. A 2-night stay in Salt Lake that I ended up cutting short because Mom called crying about the bakery oven breaking down again. I remembered racing home and wiring them $600 before I even unpacked. I'd skipped every birthday dinner invite from friends because I was covering another emergency. I missed weddings, baby showers, barbecues, because Josh needed new tires, or Dad was behind on the electric, or Mom said she just needed a little help getting through the month. And what made it worse, Josh wasn't sick. He wasn't disabled. He was 21, fully capable, and living in the guest house out back like he was on sabbatical from nothing. Mom hadn't worked since the bakery sold. Said she needed to heal after the stress. Dad was always elbow deep in some startup idea in the garage. Solar-powered lawnmower, AI bird feeder, some nonsense. But I hadn't seen a dime of income from him since I was 20. Meanwhile, I was clocking in double shifts at the airport and scanning barcodes at the hardware store every Saturday. Why? Because I was the capable one. The dependable one. That's what they called me when I was 9. And Josh was throwing a tantrum in the bakery lobby, and I cleaned up flour spills while Mom sobbed in the back room. It was a compliment at first. You're so mature for your age. Thank God for Lindsay. She just gets it done. I didn't realize then what it really meant. We're gonna dump it all on you. I looked back at the Notes app, tapped Add New, wrote $6,400 total so far, and then I just stared at the number. This wasn't helping. This wasn't love. This wasn't family. This was slow, quiet suffocation. I turned off my phone and sank into the pillows, eyes wide open, listening to the beeping machines around me. Something had to change. The nurse wheeled me out to the parking lot the next morning with a bag of discharge papers and a warning drilled into my skull. Strict rest. Minimum 1 week. No double shifts. No stress. If you ignore it, you'll be back here within days. Worse, maybe. I nodded and said I understood. But inside, I wasn't so sure. Not because I didn't believe her. Because I wasn't sure if rest was even an option for me. The second I turned my phone back on in the Uber, it lit up like a damn slot machine. Josh, Wi-Fi's out again. Can you call them? I hate waiting on hold. Dad, garage heater's on the fritz. You know anyone who does cheap wiring? Mom, I saw a good price on a treadmill for the house. Could be a health investment for us. Not a single. How are you feeling? Not one. Just a stack of requests like nothing happened. Like collapsing at work and waking up in a hospital bed was just part of my routine. By the time I got inside my apartment, I didn't even take off my shoes. I dropped my bag by the door and just stood there. My place looked like it always did. Tidy, quiet, efficient. But it felt like a storage unit for someone else's life. I walked to the closet and yanked the first box off the top shelf. Old photo albums, report cards, some junk I hadn't looked at in years. Near the bottom was a bent Polaroid. I almost tossed it without looking, but then I saw it. Me, about 10 years old, hair frizzed out, scrubbing the bakery floor in oversized rubber gloves. Josh was in the background, fast asleep in a folding chair, blanket over him like royalty. Mom and Dad? Sitting at the counter with coffee, smiling. The note on the back said, Our little helper, summer '05. Little helper, right. They said I was mature for my age. What they meant was, we're tired. You handle it. I set the photo on the kitchen table and grabbed a notepad from the drawer. I wrote covered for them, 2022-2025, across the top. Then 2 columns, money, emotional labor. Under money, I listed every payment, every bill, every bailout I could remember. Under emotional labor, I wrote, let Josh cry in my lap after every breakup. Took Mom's side every time she fought with Dad. Played therapist during Dad's invention meltdowns. Apologized to landlords, utility companies, neighbors. Was the one who kept it together when Grandma died. The one who handled everything when Mom had her breakdown. The one who said it's fine after every guilt trip. I stared at the list, then flipped the page and wrote one line in huge letters. No more. No more money. No more pretending. No more covering, smoothing, fixing. I wasn't a therapist. I wasn't a safety net. I wasn't a damn credit card with a smile. I spent the rest of the afternoon throwing things into donation bags. Clothes I didn't wear, knickknacks I never liked. I tossed out candles that had burned down to nubs and a stack of Josh's old mail he dumped on me just for a bit. Every drawer I opened felt lighter afterward. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I felt done. I walked to the fridge, pulled out a bottle of water, and chugged it like it owed me something. My phone buzzed again on the counter. This time, I didn't look. I let the phone buzz itself hoarse for 2 straight days. Calls, voicemails, texts, group chats, solo chats. Missed FaceTimes from Mom, followed by guilt-soaked emojis. Josh, blowing up my inbox with, and what's going on? Dad, asking if my phone was broken, Like that wasn't the most ironic question of the year. I read every message and answered none of them. Until this one from Dad came through. Power bill's late. Can you just handle it? It's only $180. Only. I sat on the edge of my couch, staring at the screen. Then typed, can't cover anything this month. Got my own expenses. I hit send and stared at the little bubble that said he was typing back. 5 seconds later, his reply popped up. What the hell is that supposed to mean? After everything we've done for you? Unbelievable. Then came Mom. We're really struggling here, Lindsay. You know that. I don't understand why you're being cold. This isn't you. We raised you better than this. And Josh. So I guess I'm just screwed, huh? Thanks a lot. It just kept going. More messages. More layered guilt. My phone screen filling with every version of you owe us they could come up with. I didn't even hesitate. I typed one line, I don't owe you. Hit send. Then powered the phone off. Not silent mode. Not do not disturb. Off. It was already getting dark outside. I grabbed my keys, threw on a jacket, and walked. No destination in mind. Just forward. The streets were quiet, breezy, crisp enough to sting a little when the wind hit your cheeks, but it felt good, like my body remembered it was mine. I wandered through the little downtown strip near my building, past the closed bookstore and the late-night laundromat, and stopped in front of a boutique I'd walked past 100 times but never gone into. The window had a small display, handmade ceramic dinner plates in muted colors, the kind that looked like they belonged in some cozy cooking show kitchen. Inside, the store glowed warm and soft. I walked in, didn't browse, didn't price check, just pointed at a forest green plate with a little uneven ridge around the edge and said, that one. The girl behind the counter smiled like I'd picked the best one in the world. She wrapped it carefully, like it mattered. By the register was a stand of jewelry. I saw a pair of copper earrings. Nothing big or flashy, just a twist of metal that caught the light in a way that made me stop. I added them to the plate, paid in cash. On the way out, I didn't feel lighter, I didn't feel fixed, but I felt separate. Like for the first time, I was standing just outside the mess instead of choking in the middle of it. I walked home slowly, the bag swinging gently at my side. No music, no phone, just the click of my boots on the sidewalk and the sound of my own breath. This wasn't retail therapy. I wasn't buying distractions. I wasn't numbing anything. I just wanted something that was mine. Just one nice plate. One pair of earrings. No one else's name on the receipt. 2 full days. Not a single word from any of them. No pings, no guilt bombs, no fake emergencies. I kept the phone off the entire first day, then turned it on the next morning out of habit. Still nothing. A weird kind of quiet. Suspicious, but peaceful. I let it sit on the counter like a dead animal I didn't feel like poking. Then, late afternoon, the screen lit up with one message. Dad, pick up, urgent. Your mom collapsed this morning. Ambulance came. I didn't even think. I was already halfway to the bedroom pulling on jeans when the second message came in. They say it was stress, cardiac related. She asked for you, thought she lost you. I dropped my keys twice before getting out the door. That drive to the house was all tight chest and shallow breaths. My mind spun through every version of what I'd find. Hospital beds, tubes, machines. I kept picturing Mom alone and terrified, clutching her chest, calling my name. I told myself it was probably exaggerated, that she was stable, that if it were truly fatal, he wouldn't be texting. He'd be calling. Still, I hit 80 in a 45 and didn't care. When I pulled up to the house, it looked exactly the same. Faded shutters, sagging gutters, the same chipped lawn flamingo in the dirt. But it felt different, off, like walking into a story you didn't remember writing. The front door creaked open before I could knock. Josh stood there. His face wasn't smug or bored or annoyed. It was serious, respectful even. She's upstairs, he said quietly. She's okay, just shaken. I followed him up. No smart-ass comments, no sideways glances, just silence and soft footsteps on the carpeted stairs. Mom was lying in bed, pale as paper, eyes barely open. A home monitor blinked softly on the dresser. Oxygen tubes sat unused on the nightstand. Dad sat on a chair next to her, holding her hand with both of his. She turned when she heard me, her lips barely moved, but her eyes watered instantly. "I'm so glad you came," she whispered. "I thought I lost you." I stood frozen at the foot of the bed. Every muscle in my body wanted to stay tense, to stay angry, but I couldn't hold it. Not in that moment, not looking at her like that. I moved to her side and sat down on the edge of the bed. Her hand was warm but fragile, like she was holding on with threads. "You didn't lose me," I said. "You scared me." "I scared myself," she whispered. Dad looked up then. His face was drawn, eyes red. No lecture, no edge, just quiet. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he said. I'm glad you did." Even Josh nodded slightly behind me, arms crossed, not saying a word. The room smelled like cough drops and old lotion. Nothing moved. No one spoke. It felt like all the noise had been wrung out of the house. I sat there for an hour, maybe more. Let her talk in soft bursts. Let Dad tell me what the paramedics said. Let Josh refill her water without being told. It was eerie, all of it, like someone had pressed pause on the usual chaos. And I'll admit it, part of me cracked. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe the plate, the earrings, the silence. Maybe it was too harsh. Maybe they were really trying. Maybe Mom's body just couldn't take the stress of not having her daughter around. I tucked the blanket around her shoulder and leaned back in the chair. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. But for the first time in a long time, I let myself stay. The next morning, I was washing their dishes like it was routine. Nobody asked me to, I just did it. Same with the groceries, picking up her prescriptions, refilling the ice trays, restocking the paper towels under the sink. I even organized their damn medicine cabinet when I couldn't sleep one night. Every day looked the same. Make breakfast, check on Mom, run errands, help Dad fix whatever weird tool he'd left rusting on the back patio. Josh kept his head down and mostly stayed out of the way. They didn't ask for anything outright, but the hints came fast. "Mom, these meds are gonna wipe us out, even with insurance." "Dad, washer's toast. Guess we'll be dragging laundry down to the coin place again." Josh passing by the fridge. "This thing sounds like it's gonna explode." I gave them $120 for the meds. Sent $400 toward a new washer. Didn't even think about it until after the transfers were done. That muscle memory kicked in hard. It was like someone hit reset on all of us. Like my little rebellion was just a glitch in the system that fixed itself. Things felt normal. And that scared me more than the silence. I sat with Mom that afternoon while she napped in front of the TV, her blanket bunched at her feet. I adjusted it quietly, then turned to Dad, who was fiddling with some extension cord at the wall. "Why didn't you come see me in the hospital?" I asked. He didn't look up, just said, "I twisted my ankle last week, couldn't drive. Figured you'd be home quick anyway." I nodded, but something clenched in my chest. Mom stirred a little. I turned to her. "And you? Why didn't you come?" She didn't open her eyes, just muttered, "Somebody had to stay here. We didn't know what was going on. I couldn't leave the house, not with everything going on." She said it like I'd understand, like it was just logistics. Like I was a neighbor who'd been admitted, not their daughter hooked to machines in a hospital bed. I nodded again, same muscle memory. The old "it's fine" reflex, but it wasn't. I watched her chest rise and fall. Watched Dad plug something in like I hadn't just asked him a real question. They'd flipped the script so smoothly I barely noticed. A week ago, I was out. Gone. Phone off, wall up. Now I was scrubbing pans and refilling prescriptions like nothing happened. Like none of it happened. I stood up slowly, went to the kitchen, and stared out the window at the guest house, where Josh was pretending not to exist. The fridge in the corner growled low like it was about to give out. All of it, the noise, the tension, the silence, felt too familiar, too easy to fall back into, and I could feel it already, that slow crawl of guilt and responsibility trying to settle into my bones again. But this time, I didn't let it. I just noticed it, let it sit there. I cleaned up, took out the trash, and walked to my car without saying anything. The next day, I stopped at the discount grocery near my apartment. I just wanted eggs and frozen pizza. My brain was fried from playing nurse and errand runner all week, and I needed something normal, something silent. I was halfway down the snack aisle when I heard my name. "Lindsay, wow, haven't seen you in ages." It was Mrs. Donahue, my parents' old neighbor from 4 houses down. Puffy jacket, massive tote bag, and a cart full of canned soup. Her face was lit up like she'd just seen a celebrity. I forced a smile. "Hey, yeah, it's been a while." We small-talked for a minute. Weather, gas prices, some joke about how her husband's still trying to fix the same bathroom light he swore would take 10 minutes. Then she said it. "Saw your mom last Friday at the wholesale market. She looked great, laughing her head off near the bakery section." I blinked. "Last Friday?" "Yep, evening, around 6 maybe. She was with your dad." I almost didn't recognize her. She looked so lively. Gave me a hug and said they were finally getting out more. My stomach went tight, but I kept my face still. "Huh, that's great." She didn't catch it. Just patted my arm and moved on toward the paper towels. I stood there in front of the chips, heartbeat slow and steady like I was back under hospital lights. Last Friday, I was at their house. At 6 p.m., I was sitting by Mom's bed, tucking a blanket around her, watching her pretend she couldn't lift her head without wincing. And now some sweet old neighbor just told me she saw them laughing in a grocery store at that exact same time. I drove straight to their place. The door was unlocked, like always. I stepped in, dropped my purse quietly, and smiled like I had no idea. "Hey," I called. "Brought some stuff from the store," Josh shouted from his room. "Cool, leave it on the counter." Mom was watching TV, curled under a blanket again, sipping tea like a Hallmark character. "Hi, honey," she said, soft like her lungs were still weak. "You didn't have to." Dad poked his head out of the garage, wiping his hands on a towel. "Thanks, Linz. You're a lifesaver, as usual." I nodded, set the bag down, and sat at the kitchen table, let it all play out. We had dinner. Mom stayed tired. Dad did his usual half-babble about voltage something or other. Josh barely came out of his room. Around 8, I got up to grab my jacket from the hallway. That's when I heard it. Josh, door cracked open, talking on the phone. "Nah, she bought it. Hook, line, and sinker." "Yep. Told you Mom should have been an actress." He laughed, sharp and stupid. I didn't move, just stood there, watching the light from under his door hit my shoes. She bought it. Should have been an actress. So that's what it was. All of it, the texts, the hospital setup, the whispers and monitors and blanket tucks. The whole damn thing had been staged. They knew I was slipping away, that I meant it this time. So they pulled out the nuclear option. Fake emergency, fake collapse, fake scare. And I fell for it. Came running back, paid the bills, took out the trash. I walked out the front door without a word. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't slam anything. Just left. Again. I was almost to the front door when Josh stepped out of his room. He froze when he saw me. Phone still in his hand, screen lit up, call active. "Wait, Linz, hang on, I didn't stop." He followed me halfway down the hall. "It was just a joke. Come on, you're overthinking this." I reached for my bag by the coat rack. "It wasn't like a whole plan or anything," he said. We didn't know what else to do." I zipped my jacket. Still hadn't said a word. Josh shifted on his feet. His voice dropped. "She really did feel sick. You know how she gets. Stress messes her up." I turned the doorknob. "Linz, seriously, don't leave like this." I stepped outside. The rain hit instantly, sharp, steady, cold. It soaked into my hair, slid down my neck, clung to my sleeves. I didn't feel it. The porch light hummed behind me. Inside, I could hear the TV still playing, muffled voices, silverware clinking. Like everything was fine, like nothing ever cracked. I walked down the front steps and didn't look back. By the time I got to my car, I felt calm, not numb, not angry, not broken, just clear. I drove home without turning on the radio. No windshield wipers either. Just let the rain streak across the glass and blur the headlights around me. I liked not seeing clearly for a while. Inside my apartment, I peeled off the wet clothes and changed into an old hoodie and sweatpants. Then I walked straight to the drawer in my desk and pulled out the notebook, the one I'd filled with numbers and lists and bullet points. Every favor, every transfer, every debt they never called a debt. I stared at it for a second. Then I packed it away into a plastic bin with some old tax papers and pushed it under my bed. I wasn't going to toss it, not yet, but I didn't need to look at it anymore. I grabbed my phone off the nightstand, screen lit up with missed calls. Dad, 2, Josh, 1, Mom, 5. I scrolled through them, didn't open any, didn't care what they said. They could be frantic, they could be angry, they could be apologizing. Didn't matter. I held the power button until the screen went black. Then I set it down, face first, and walked away. No reply, no explanation, no drama. Just quiet. Finally. 2 days of silence. I didn't touch my phone, just let it sit there, screen dark, tucked in the drawer under a pair of mismatched socks. I worked my shifts, came home, cooked real food, slept like a rock. Then came the storm. The first ping was from Aunt Deb. "Your mom's still recovering and you just bailed." I'm trying to be neutral, but this doesn't sit right. 5 minutes later, Uncle Ray. "I don't know the full story, but walking away from your family like that, after all they've done?" Then it just kept coming. Cousins, old family friends, even my godmother, who I hadn't talked to in years. "Your parents are heartbroken. I hope you're proud." All of them echoing the same thing. "She's sick. You abandoned her. Don't turn your back on family." I sat at the table, reading every single message. No one asked what happened. No one said, "What's your side?" They'd picked their side already. At first, I felt that old gut punch, the need to explain, to defend myself, to prove that I wasn't heartless. Then I got mad. I pulled out my laptop and opened a new folder, labeled it Context. I dug through my phone backups, emails, cloud accounts, pulled every receipt, every bank transfer, every thanks again text from my parents, screenshotted messages where I bailed them out, reminders of bills I covered, grocery runs, repair costs. I even grabbed a few photos, the note from Josh thanking me for saving his business, the email from Dad with the subject line, "Can you front me $300 till next week?" The screenshot of Mom texting, "I don't know what we'd do without you." I kept going. Not to prove a point to them, but to get it all in one place, to see the years in black and white. When I was done, I dropped it into a Drive link and added a message at the top. "If you're going to accuse me of abandoning anyone, read this first." Then I sent the link to every single person who messaged me. Every self-righteous paragraph, every guilt-soaked note, all got the same reply. Here's the context. Some of them responded. Aunt Deb texted, "I had no idea. I'm sorry." One cousin just sent a shocked emoji. Uncle Ray doubled down. "So you're keeping score now? That's not what family does." I didn't answer, didn't need to. They could think what they wanted. I wasn't here to win them over. This wasn't a debate. This was me, finally putting the burden down and walking away. I closed my laptop, stood up, and stretched. My body didn't feel heavy for once. And that feeling, that lightness, it was worth every awkward message and sideways glance that would come later. They could whisper. They could judge. I didn't owe them anything either. 6 months later, I was sitting by the window of my new apartment, legs tucked under me, coffee in hand, watching the park across the street wake up. The space was small, 1 bedroom, nothing fancy, but it had sunlight and quiet. The bakery downstairs opened at 7 every morning, and the smell of fresh bread drifted up like clockwork. I worked one job now, just one. No more weekends at home build, no graveyard shifts at the airport. I made less, sure, but somehow had more. More peace, more space, more time to be a person. I read books, not articles, not invoices, actual books. I joined a trivia night with coworkers, went to the farmers market on Saturdays, said yes to dinner invites, and showed up without needing to leave early. I spent Christmas in Denver, first solo trip of my life, walked in the snow, had peppermint hot chocolate, bought a scarf from a vendor, and didn't feel guilty about it. No emergencies, no, "Can you send something when you get a chance?" texts. My phone was quiet. Blessedly, beautifully quiet. As for them, they lost the house in February. Josh's car got repossessed not long after. My parents ended up in a 1-bedroom across town. Word got around. Extended family knew, neighbors whispered. Someone even posted about it on the local Facebook group. No one apologized, not once. But I heard the stories. Apparently, I turned cold. I abandoned family when they needed me most. One relative told someone I was off living the rich girl life while her mother got sick. No one asked me what happened, and I didn't offer. I never blocked them. I didn't need to. I just didn't answer. I let their words hang in the air without catching them. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a fresh plate from the shelf, the same ceramic one I bought that rainy night, and sliced an apple onto it, just because it looked good. Simple things, small routines, mine. And now I'm sitting here, telling this story the way it really happened. Not the gossip, not the edited for sympathy version, the truth.